الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. We will be discussing about Imam Ali alayhi salam's letter in NAHJUL BALAGHA, letter number 31. We discussed last year a big part of the letter, and now we've reached a point where Imam Ali alayhi salam gives a number of advices, like a sum of 27 advices to his son. So we discussed about who the letter is from and who the letter is to, and we will have a quick recap on that before we begin the actual advices, inshallah. In the introduction to this letter, I can say that it is the second longest letter that Imam Ali alayhi salam has written to anyone, like found in NAHJUL BALAGHA. So the longest letter that is found in NAHJUL BALAGHA is the letter of Imam Ali alayhi salam to Malik Ashtar upon his appointment to be a governor. So that letter to Malik Ashtar is letter number 53. This letter is letter number 31. As we all know, in NAHJUL BALAGHA there are three sections: one of his sermons, the other of his letters, and then the last one is of Kalimatul Qisar, short sayings, or hikmah, which is the last section. So this is the middle part of NAHJUL BALAGHA, where Imam Ali alayhi salam writes letter to his son. As regards to this letter, it is considered to be an authentic letter because the chain of narrators who have narrated this letter is known to be an authentic chain. For anything that has come through a hadith to us from the Holy Prophet ﷺ or from any of the A'immah, the chain of narrators is very, very important. Why? Because if there is anybody in the chain who is not a reliable person, then that content which comes to us becomes a doubtful content. So as regards to this letter, the whole chain of narrators through which the letter came from Imam Ali alayhi salam, reaching it to us, the chain of narrators are all people of thiqah, people who we can trust upon, people who we can rely upon to have given us a good narration without any additions on their own part or without any submission or any playing around with the content. So this is a proper chain of narrators, and then the letter is considered to be an authentic letter because the chain of narrators are all of authentic people. Third reason for about the letter to be authentic is that Sayyid Radi, as we all know, that he is the compiler of NAHJUL BALAGHA, so he gathered all the letters and sermons and sayings of Imam Ali alayhi salam and put them all in one big book. Yeah. So may Allah bless him always, that he has done a big favor to the Shia community by gathering whatever he could lay hands on and put them together and give us in a book form. So before Sayyid Radi, there are many books that have quoted this letter. So because it is found in books prior to Sayyid Radi also, then that gives it more weight on its being authentic letter. So that is about the letter itself. Coming to the letter and to who it was written. So which son was the letter written to? Father, yes, Imam Ali alayhi salam, because it is in NAHJUL BALAGHA and they are the words of Amir. But which son did the Imam write the letter to? So there are three possible sons who Imam Ali alayhi salam could have written the letter to, which are: one, it is possible that Imam Ali alayhi salam wrote this letter to Imam Hassan alayhi salam. Why? Because Imam Hassan alayhi salam is his eldest son. So there is a possibility that the letter was from. So many a times in history you will see letter of Imam Ali alayhi salam to Imam Hassan. But it's not so straightforward that it is to Imam Hassan, because Imam Ali alayhi salam in the letter itself, he never mentioned that he is talking to Imam Hassan. So it was like a father to a son. So which son we are not very sure about. So we will not say it was from Imam Ali to Imam Hassan. From Imam Ali, yes, because it is part of NAHJUL BALAGHA. But to who? We are not 100% sure. So it may be Imam Hassan, it may not be Imam Hassan. Why may it not be Imam Hassan? As we discussed last year, the language of the letter is not like that of being spoken to a ma'soom Imam. And because Imam Hassan alayhi salam is also a ma'soom, then there is probability that the letter was not written to him. There's another possibility that the letter was written to Muhammad Hanafiya, who was also Imam Ali's son. Why to Muhammad Hanafiya? Because Imam Ali alayhi salam, during the lifetime of the Prophet, he always used to address Hassanain alayhim as-salam as the sons of the Prophet. So even when we look at Mubahala and who the Prophet took as his sons, it was Hassanain alayhim as-salam. Even when you look at small events where Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain alayhi salam would climb up the back of the Prophet. So they were like the sons of the Prophet. And Imam Ali alayhi salam always considered them to be the sons of Prophet. So with Muhammad Hanafiya, Imam Ali alayhi salam considered him to be his own son. So because he considered Muhammad Hanafiya to be his own son, and he was a very pure son, if we have studied the history, we would know what role he has played, like the hadith, the wasiyah that Imam Hussain alayhi salam did while going to Karbala was also to Muhammad Hanafiya. The popular hadith of Inni lam akhruj ashram wala batara, that hadith was given to Muhammad Hanafiya. When you look at the revenge that Mukhtar took, even Muhammad Hanafiya is involved. So Muhammad Hanafiya was an active person, and he was the son of Imam Ali alayhi salam. So there is a high probability that the letter was written to Muhammad Hanafiya. And if we say no, it was not to Muhammad Hanafiya, then why was it not to him? So that brings us to the third possibility, which is the Muslim Ummah. He may have written the letter to the Muslim Ummah. How can he write to the Muslim Ummah when it is said to be a letter from father to son? So how can the Muslim Ummah be the son of Amir al-Mu'minin? So Imam Ali alayhi salam, upon his deathbed, when he came back when he was brought back from the masjid, wounded, and the companions also came with him, and then the companions were holding on to him because it was sad to see him in such a situation. And when Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain were telling the companions to go back home, the companions were not very happy at leaving Imam in that position. So Asbaq bin Nabata was a very close companion to Imam Ali alayhi salam, and he was not ready. He was very reluctant on leaving the Imam in that situation. So when they kept on persisting that he should leave, because the daughters of Imam also wanted to come and sit with their father, Asbaq told Imam Ali alayhi salam, okay, I will leave, but give me some words of advice from the Prophet that I hear from you, and then I leave. So the words of advice which at this moment Imam Ali alayhi salam said is, the Holy Prophet has said, I and Ali are the fathers to the Ummah. So if Imam Ali alayhi salam is the father to the Ummah, then the Ummah are the sons of the father. So on that pretext, you and I are sons of Amirul Mu'mineen, and Amirul Mu'mineen has written that letter to us. So we have covered a major part of the letter last year, and in that part, several times in the letter, Imam Ali alayhi salam kept saying, "Eh bunay, oh my child, oh my child, oh my child." And that gave us the feeling of bonding with the Imam, that he is my spiritual father and he is talking to me. And that brought us to a level where we tried to implement what the Imam was saying in whatever minimum way we could implement his advices. So that gave us a bond with the Imam, and with that bond we continued the letter, and which has brought us to these number of advices that Imam wants to give us now. So what we are going to do is now a set of 27 advices which the Imam gives in this part of the letter, which is nearing almost to the end of the letter, and that is going to be kind of a conclusion to what he has already spoken before and what we have already discussed before, but in a summarized form. So let us see what the Imam wants to tell us in this part of the very, very important letter. So the first advice that Imam says is وَتَلَا فِيكَ مَا فَرَطَ مِنْ صَمْتِكَ أَيْسَرُ مِنْ إِدْرَاكِكَ مَا فَاتَ مِنْ مَنْطِقِكَ. It is easier to rectify what you miss by silence than to secure what you lose by speaking. When a situation arises where you could have said something but did not say it, so you have remained silent, and maybe something goes wrong because you remained silent. Rectifying that error is easier than having a situation where you could speak and you did speak, but what you spoke was not right. So now there is a danger which is difficult to rectify. So it is easier to rectify what you miss by being silent. than to get what you lose because of your speaking. Subhanallah. Like there are two scenarios. You could have spoken, but you remain silent. Then you can speak the next time a situation arises. But when you speak when you need not have spoken, then that is an irreparable situation. Like if there is spilled milk on the floor, can you pick it up? It's not possible. So words when spoken, they can't be taken back. It's a tough situation. So it is easier to remain silent, and if there is any loss because of that silence, you can rectify it. You can amend the loss. But once you've spoken what you need not have spoken and you've caused damage by your speech, now retrieving those words is just impossible. نعم العون الصمت في مواطن كثير. Imam Hassan alayhi salam says, نعم العون, an excellent helper, is silence in numerous situations. وإن كنت فصيحة, even if you are an eloquent speaker. Sometimes when we are eloquent speakers, we feel that because I know how to speak and because I speak well and because my speech has an impact, then I need to speak in every situation and every moment that I can speak. But Imam says the excellent helper is silence. Even if I am an eloquent speaker. وحفظ ما في الوعاء بشد الوقاء. Whatever is in a pot can be retained by closing the lid. If there is something in the pot, it can overflow if the lid is open. But if once you've secured the lid on top of the pot, then whatever is in the pot is not going to overflow. Yeah? So what is Imam trying to say here? Heart is retained by closing the mouth. Whatever is in the heart, whatever secrets are there, whatever grievous things are there, whatever the heart holds, it can be retained if I close my mouth. But once I open my mouth, then there is a tendency of it spilling over. Lisanul aqil wara'a qalbihi. The tongue of a wise man is behind his heart. A wise man always reflects and then uses his tongue. وَقَلْبُ الْأَحْمَقِ وَرَاءَ لِسَانِهِ. And with a foolish person, the case is opposite. With a foolish person, his heart is behind his tongue. So he speaks, he's already spoken, and then he tends to think. So if there is any regret that's going to come, that comes after the tongue has been used. So if a person is intelligent, then he does not speak without thinking. If you mean to guard your heart, first learn to befriend your tongue. So the tongue is a friend. It obeys what you tell it to do, and that is how you can guard your heart. Like the native saying, Swahili, funika kombe mwana haramu apite. This proverb enjoins that care needs to be taken not to disclose a secret to people who have no right to know. If you want to share something and there is somebody standing there who does not need to know about it, they say funika kombo mwana haramu apite. Means hold on. Don't speak anything now. Let the person who's not required pass, then we will discuss. Why? Because we don't trust this person. So be quiet. Inna samt, Imam Rida alayhi salam says, Inna samt bab min abwab al-hikmah. Surely silence is a door from the doors of wisdom. Wa innahu liyaksib al-muhabba. For surely silence is something that definitely earns love for a person. Wa yujibu salama, and it makes peace incumbent upon the person. So if somebody is silent, nobody is going to harm him because he does not speak, he does not say anything. So it earns love from people around and it gives him peace from people around. Definitely, these are definite things. Warahat likiram al-katibin, and it gives relaxedness. It makes, if we say in our language, it makes the scribing angels chill. Now there's nothing to write. Why? Because a person is quiet. So the moment you start speaking, that's when we start gathering so many evil things, like we start doing riba and we start lying and we started gossiping and this and that. So many wrong things that are connected to the tongue, they are, once I obtain silence, they are all gone. So warahat li kiram al katibin, they don't need to write anything. It is raha for them. They are chilling. وَإِنَّهُ لِدَلِيلٍ عَلَى كُلِّ خَيْرٍ. And then it becomes a proof over all goodness. Because now in silence, my mind is also silent. So now I can think of what goodness I want to do and what I want to acquire. That is, once I start acquiring, then Kiram al-Katibin will need to start writing again, inshallah. But till then, it is rahat li Kiram al-Katibin. Advice number 2. So the Imam says, وَحِفْظُ مَا فِي يَدَيْكَ أَحَبُّ إِلَيَّ مِنْ طَلَبِ مَا فِي يَدَيْ غَيْرِكَ. Whatever is in your hands, I should prefer you to retain it. So retain what is in your hands. That is preferable to me from seeking what is in another's hands. So Imam actually is advising that whatever you have in your hands, whatever is yours, look at that, be happy, and don't try to seek what other people have. But what I find amazing in this phrase is that he says, وَحِفْظُ مَا فِي يَدَيْكَ أَحَبُّ إِلَيَّ. I should prefer you to retain what is in your hands. I, your father, I should prefer. Not that it is better for you. Yes, it is better for you to retain what is in your hands and not to seek outside. Okay, we'll come to that later. But the fact that Imam says, I should prefer you to retain what is in your hands. Why that I? It's like, when you have a child and when your child wants to do something and you explain your child that this is why you want why you want him to do it, or there is something that you want your child not to do. So you explain to your child why you don't want him to do a certain thing. And and in your understanding, the child has understood why you don't want him to do. But you will seal it with like, beta man, eu gam se tu am karisto. It's that situation. So when you say beta man, eu gam se, when the child is doing it or not doing it, he is not only looking at his own advantage, he is also looking at his bond with you, that my mom has said beta man eu gam se. So in the same way, when I am also just looking at what I have in my hands, it is giving me peace because I'm focused on what I have, and my energy is not in looking at other people's stuff and being greedy about it. But on top of that, I'm also thinking that Imam Ali alayhi salam has said, I would prefer. So I'm not just doing it for myself, I'm doing it to please Amirul Mu'mineen. And there is that added pleasure in doing that act of contentment. Khairul mal athiqa billah. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says the best of wealth is trust upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, wal ya'as mimma fi aydin nas. So, when you have trust upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that means whatever Allah has given you, you're happy with it. Wal ya'as mimma fi aydin nas. Then you don't look at other things and you are not longing to get what other people have. There is despondency from what is in the hands of others. So what if they have it? Yeah, it's theirs. If they have it, it's fine. I have what I am given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and I'm fine with it. That is the biggest of wealth. Athiqa billah. That is according to Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. وَمَرَارَةُ الْيَأْسِ خَيْرٌ مِنَ الطَّلَبِ إِلَى النَّاسِ. So, the third advice that Imam Ali alayhi salam gives is that bitterness from despair is better than seeking from people. When we don't have something and we really want it, it's kind of a bitter feeling, like I so much want it. And it's natural because we are human beings, okay? To want is natural. So there is that bitter feeling of, I wish I had it. I wish I had it. And every time I see it, I feel, oh, why don't I have it? Yeah. So Imam says that bitterness of despair, that I wish I had it, is better than seeking from people. Is so much way better than begging from people. Why? Not getting something is bit better when your heart is set to it. Yes, true. But it is better to handle that situation than stooping low to seek it from someone. Why? Because he or she might deny you. So I have asked her, can I please have it? And she says, no, I don't think I have extra to give you. How does that feel? Or he or she might decide to give it to me. So I have it. I sought it from someone, I got it, and every time I meet that person, I say, remember that day you wanted that thing and I gave you? So there's always mockery. How does that feel? Or somebody gives me something that I really wanted, and the third day I hear so many of my friends saying that, so you know what, she came to my place and she asked for it. So now everybody is talking about me. Or I might place myself in a situation where the person who gives me blackmails me about it. So there are so many. These are some of the reasons that I have thought of. It's not that the reasons have come from the Imam. I've thought of them, and you may think of others. So some reasons why the feeling of bitterness is there, yes, that I do want it and my heart is dying for it. It should not, but yes, because I'm a human being, my heart really craves for it and I really want it. But then that is way better than stooping low to some human being and asking it from him because of certain reasons. What is the purpose in my life? Once we find the purpose in our lives, then we will not be looking here and there and looking for material things to suit us. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Mulk verse number 2, to all of us this verse is very, very popular. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alladhi khalaqal mawta wal hayata liyabluwakum ayyukum ahsanu amala. He who has created life and death so that he may test you. Which of you is best in conduct? So the purpose of creation is to be tested. Okay? Now in those tests, just like giving a test in a university or in a school, the test, before the test you will be equipped, right? So if you're going for a mathematics exam and you don't take a calculator, will you be able to meet the mathematics exam? No. So when you're doing a test, you need to have the tools. So our needs and our capacities are not same. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests us, He gives us all those things that we need to pass the test. So because our tests are not same, then our needs and capacities are also not same. What someone has may not be what I need to go through for my test. Or I may not be having something because I don't need it for my test. So because our tests are different, our needs and capacities are also different. We don't pass through the same tests and we don't have the same needs and capacities. So if somebody is having something that I don't need it to pass my test. Having something is a test. And being deprived of something is also a test of how I cope with the situation where I don't have it. And if I have something, it's a test on how I use that ni'mah to pass my test. So everything that is there in life is a test for us to reach a certain level. The fourth advice that Imam gives here is وَالْحِرْفَةُ مَعَ الْعِفَّةِ خَيْرٌ مِنَ الْغِنَى مَعَ الْفُجُورِ. Manual labor with chastity is better than the riches of a vicious life. The word ifa here has been translated as chastity, which to our understanding is confined to maybe sexual behavior, but we will discuss the meaning of the word ifa. So manual labor with ifa is better than all the riches in the world where the life is vicious. Sometimes we gather riches through vicious life, sometimes we use the riches in vicious life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. The noblest of you in the sight of Allah is the most God conscious. So in Allah's eyes, having lots of riches is not karam. It's not being noble. Being noble in Allah's eyes is to be God conscious at all moments of our lives and to protect ourselves and have iffa where we do not wrong Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So according to the dictionary, the word iffa means to work without sinning or to work without humiliating oneself. So to work in a state of purity where we do not commit sins. So it is okay to perform a lot of manual work without any sins, rather than gather lots of wealth where there's a vicious life, either in gathering the amount of wealth or in spending the amount of wealth. Rather than having all the wealth in, I'm not saying that whoever is wealthy is vicious, don't take me wrong, but this is a comparison. If there is a life full of wealth and viciousness, then that is worse than having a life which is of minimum means, a lot of manual labor, but away from sins. So basically, inna akramakum indallahi atqakum, when whoever is noble in Allah's eyes is the one who does not commit sins. So the baseline is do not commit sins. That is the baseline. And then Imam, let us look at what is the connection between work and sin. So vicious deeds make one go deeper and deeper into darkness. So much deep that then he does not see any light at the end of the tunnel. You keep on moving inner and inner and inner and inner to a big hole of darkness where there is no light to be seen. Like in Ayatul Kursi, when Allah says, Allah waliyul ladina amanu yukhrijuhum minadh zulumati ila nur. So Allah brings people out from zulumat to nur because they have seen Allah and they have not, they have at least seen the light of Allah. So even if they had gone deep down, Allah removes them from that darkness and brings them to light because they have seen the light. But more and more vicious deeds, more and more sinful acts make a person forget Allah and get deeper and deeper and deeper into sinning. So that is why even if the work is too hard, but it is with cleanliness, purity of heart and purity of actions, then that is way better than having lots of wealth which is spent in fujur. So al-ibadah 10 ajza fatis'atu fiha fi talab al-halal. The worship, ibadah of Allah, worship, we've been created for the ibadah, right? So ibadah has 10 parts and 9 of them are in seeking halal. So if I am seeking halal earning, then I've not been able to do maybe any of the mustahabat, it's fine because 9 parts are already secured. Then all the wajibat acts like namaz, roza, hajj, zakat, khums, they all come in that one small sector there, which is 1/10. 9/10 is in halal earning, in seeking halal. So halal earning, eating halal, spending halal, all those halal seeking make 9/10 of my ibadah. The normal ibadah that I am looking at as the whole globe of ibadah is only 1/10. Fifth one and the last one for today is وَالْمَرْأَةُ أَحْفَظُ لِسِرِّهِ. A man is the best guard of his own secrets. If you have any secret that you want to guard, keep them to yourself. There's an Arabian proverb. So long as I can keep a secret, it is my prisoner. Do you see those chains and the lock? The secret is held there on the bottom left corner. So long as you are holding on to your secret, it is your prisoner. If I let it slip, then I am its prisoner. So if I allow that secret to slip out of my mouth, remember the jar and the heart within closed? If I don't close the lid, if I leave the lid open, it will overflow. And if it overflows and I've given it to somebody and now I'm worried, now I've let it slip. So now maybe the person who I told it to, whether I have told her not to tell anybody or not, it might go out. So all the time I'm in that state of fear. So I have become the prisoner of the secret. So long as I had held it in my jar, it was my prisoner. The moment I let it slip out, then I am its prisoner. And then there is a Chinese proverb which says, what is told into the ear of a man is often heard 100 miles away. So yes, it's a proverb, but I will not agree with it in the second part of it because it is not heard 100 miles away. With the benefit of This, it is heard 1,000 miles away, millions of miles away. Hear something, tell somebody in her ear, you know what happened, so this is how she behaved, and tap 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 tap, it's a WhatsApp message broadcast. How many people have already heard? So long as I'm holding on to my secret, it is mine. The moment I let it out, it is no longer mine. It is heard all around the globe. And there is another proverb which says, a secret is like a dove. When it leaves my hand, it takes wings. So long as the dove is in my hands, it is mine. I'm holding on to it, and I'm treasuring it, and I'm valuing it, and I'm holding it that it's mine. But the moment I open my hands, it flies off, and it will decide where it wants to go. I no longer have control over it. So long as it was in my hands, it was in my control. The moment I let my hands loose and I allowed it to fly, now it is not mine and it is not in my control. So the secret is like that. Once I let it go, then I cannot control it anymore. So long as I had the jar closed, it was mine. وصدر العقل صندوق سره. The chest of an intelligent person is a chest of secrets. Is a treasure chest holding on all his secrets. Just like that heart that was bottled in a jar, the heart of an intelligent person is a chest which holds the treasure of all his secrets. The moment the chest is open, all the secrets will pour out. So if you want to hold on to secrets, keep them yours. كلما كثر خزان الأسرار كثر ضياعها. Every time the number of secret holders increase, the divulgers of secret also increase. The more the people holding on to the secret, the more the people speaking about it also. The secret known to two is no longer a secret. It was a secret so long as it was in your heart. The moment it left your heart and went to somebody else, now there are chances of having number of secret keepers and then number of divulgers of those secrets also. Bottom line, if you have a secret, keep it within yourself. Do not share it with anybody. So these are the 5 advices. These are the 5 advices that Amirul Mu'minin alayhi salam gives in this part of the sermon, and we shall inshallah continue next week. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.